Seven, six, five, four, three, two, one.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of CBD Talk Podcast. Oh, wait, before I do this, how do I pronounce your last name?
Oddone.
Thank you.
Yeah, that would be embarrassing, right?
Oh, I've done
Yeah.
it before. There is no shame here anymore.
Yeah.
No shame in this game.
That's
Okay. Welcome, everyone, to episode number 81 of CBD Talk Podcast. And we've got a really good show for you tonight. I'm excited. I know we haven't done one in a couple weeks, but things have been crazy at work. And also I'm starting a new video series where we'll have definitions of words that are commonly used in the cannabis industry to help you guys out on that. So that's coming. Look for it soon on Facebook. And that is our Facebook page is CBD Talk Podcast 2 because, hey, Facebook shut down CBD Talk Podcast, the first one. So anyway. Well, tonight's episode is sponsored by CleanGreenWholesaleCBD.com. Clean Green offers white labeling and wholesale services for products from GMP and FDA-approved manufacturing facilities. So if you're looking to increase your pipeline of products, check out CleanGreenWholesaleCBD.com, and they even offer drop shipping to your customers. So, on to tonight's episode with, let me pop him up here, Tony Oddone from Proverde Health. And I have been talking with Steven from his office, who's a great guy, and we were able to make something happen so that we could get Tony on the show, and we're very excited about this. Tony's company, Proverde Health, operates in a couple different avenues, and so we'll talk about that soon. But first of all, Tony, can you tell us how you started working with CBD personally and how Proverde came about?
Sure. First of all, thanks for having me. It's great to be here. And yeah, so as far as how I got involved in the CBD industry, my background is in the dietary supplement industry. And I've been on the forefront of dietary supplement manufacturing for the past 6 years. So that segued directly into the CBD industry. As soon as the Farm Bill, which was just recently signed, literally our inbox and phones were ringing off the hook with, do you manufacture CBD? Will you manufacture CBD? You know, we had so many clients coming to us asking for this. And ultimately, they were sending us their existing product, asking us to duplicate it. Like, this is our product. Can you duplicate this? And what we were finding is when we were putting this through our standard operating procedure and testing procedures, we were finding that these products, most of them weren't meeting label claim. So when we explained that to the brands, they were a little taken back. You know, and ultimately we said, well, hey, if there's so many of these issues in the industry, you know, maybe we can be kind of the brand that comes out and kind of does things the correct way. So that's really what segued us into the CBD industry, is this the gap in the industry and the need for somebody to step in and ultimately put out a product that's made with integrity and that passes you know, these rigorous testings that we have for this product.
And that's the thing is, you know, right now it is the wild, wild west out here. But the FDA had their meeting at the end of May. They had 120 people speak, and I've gone through the video. The link for that is actually on a CBD Talk Podcast Facebook page. If anyone wants to go back and look at the replay of, I don't know if you want to watch 121 of them, but it's really interesting. And the fact that they did that and that they're having open comments right now means that they're moving forward in a way to set up some regulations, and that is, you know, per the Farm Bill, that's under their jurisdiction. And I think it's huge to have people that are in the nutraceutical or the supplement industry with all the experience
Sure.
ready to help us move into this new phase. So
Yeah, it's exciting times for sure.
yeah, good on you. That's wonderful. And um, we don't need things made in bathtubs. So
Yeah, and unfortunately, the industry needs regulation to
mhm.
stop that from happening.
Yeah, yeah, because it's not going to happen on its own. We the self-regulation, we tried that. It didn't really work out very well. So, yeah, there's a products out there that are just, like you said, not even close. Some of them don't even have CBD, and the label says CBD. So,
Right, right. Yeah,
yeah.
there's a lot of things that we see, like especially like Amazon brands.
Oh, geez, yeah.
There's a lot of things that I'm sure a lot of the audience is aware of, but
Hmm.
then again, I'm sure a lot of the audience isn't aware of, and that's the issue. The issue
Yeah.
is people are buying products, thinking it's one thing, taking it, and then not seeing the effects or the
Hmm.
results that they expect, and it's kind of tarnishing the entire industry.
And that's the other thing is, and that's very true. But then on top of that, they're thinking, "Oh, CBD is a hoax,"
Right.
and and
Correct.
then and they could be talking to other people saying the same thing as well. People that it could really benefit. People with
Absolutely.
rheumatoid arthritis, people with skin diseases, immune problems, just
Sure.
a myriad of things, and basically, the one bad actor with a terrible product could end up preventing someone from getting the help that they really need. So,
100%.
yeah.
100%.
So that's one of those things that pisses us off. Um, okay, so we're going to go a couple different ways on this episode because you do have a lot of knowledge to share. Um, how about we start out with the importance of, well, first of all, explaining what GMP is, and then why that is important for for consumers to look for.
Absolutely. So GMP stands for Good Manufacturing Practices. And why this is important is because this is basically the Bible for any quality manufacturer. And what that basically means is it's our standard operating procedures and how we operate. And not only is it the written procedures, it's also the follow-up work to make sure that we actually follow those written procedures.
Hmm.
So what does that mean? That means that basically everything within our facility has a document or paper trail to follow it. There's sign offs on everything, and everything is done in a certain way, and it's done the same way consistently every time. So not only is it done that way, but it's also validated by another person to ensure that there was no oversight or there wasn't something that got missed. So there's always a two-person check to validate the work that's been done. On top of that, with GMP, designing a proper facility in which these products are being manufactured, having the proper equipment to manufacture these particular types of products, maintaining the facilities, maintaining the equipment.
Hmm.
All of these things are standard operating procedures that are done to ensure, not only the quality of the product, but the safety of the employees that work in the facility, and just to make sure that the product that we're putting out there for consumers to take is 100% a quality product.
So is this a certified process?
It is. So GMPs are they are self-regulated, but they're
Hmm.
also audited by third parties.
Oh, good.
Yes. So we do our own. We audit ourselves for compliance on a quarterly basis,
Hmm.
but on top of that, we're also audited by a third party.
Got it.
So some of the third parties that we use are Intertech, which does third party auditing, as well as NSF, which does third party auditing.
Oh, and I've definitely heard of NSF. Yeah.
Yes. So NSF is very popular in the dietary supplement industry.
Hmm.
That's probably the most popular one you'll see.
So how long have you been in the dietary supplement industry?
So personally, I've been doing this for 6 years.
Hmm.
I actually got into the industry through my father-in-law,
Hmm.
who who's been in the industry for well over 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And, we started in the industry with just doing protein powders, vegan protein powders, just your normal dietary supplement lineup, your vitamins, your minerals,
Mm-hmm.
your herbals, things along your botanicals, things along
Yeah.
those lines. And what makes us a little bit different on the dietary side is that we try to do things without all the extra fillers, without all the extra excipients. Uh,
Yeah.
so ultimately, taking an existing product and trying to strip away the things that really are not needed.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why they're typically added to products is for speed and for flow. But if you're doing things in a certain way, and you're not necessarily doing things with dollars in mind, you're doing
Yeah.
things with quality in mind,
Mm-hmm.
you can strip away a lot of those things and create a really quality product.
So you feel that the supplement industry translates well into the CBD industry?
Oh, 100%,
Yeah.
100%. I mean, it's going that direction. It's going to go that direction no matter what we do.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like the fact that with our background, with creating these similar type products,
Mm-hmm.
now incorporating CBD into these types of products is only the stepping stone. Um,
Have you worked with anything that really has where you've seen the benefits similar to what CBD or other cannabinoids have brought to the market? Or I mean, like, is there an equivalent out there, or is CBD just really like, wow, this is awesome?
CBD is amazing, especially if you're taking a quality product. It definitely has amazing benefits, and those benefits are very unique to the individual.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not gonna, I can never sit here and say it's gonna do X, Y, Z for you
Exactly.
because it's a subjective product. It's gonna be unique to the individual.
Yeah, your
But
endocannabinoid system is your unique endocannabinoid system, and
exactly,
yeah.
100%. But the people that have taken our product and that we've given samples to, I have a lot of family members that we've given samples to, and just the feedback that I've gotten from them, it's amazing. I've had one of my uncles in my family. He hasn't had a good night's sleep in probably the last 5 years. He just constantly wakes up.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, he's taken CBD now for a little over a month, and he can constantly sleep soundly through the night.
That's so important to
Um,
your body's
so
healing.
some healing, recovery, stress. It's amazing.
Right.
Something that I can compare it to. Believe it or not, we're heavily into the ketogenic market.
Uh-huh.
We do a lot of ketogenic supplements.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody asks me whether or not I believe the ketogenic diet is a fad diet, or
Mm-hmm.
if it's a diet that's here to stay.
Mm-hmm.
I truly believe it's a diet that's here to stay because I've seen the effects of the diet
Mm-hmm.
on people with obesity, on people with type 2 diabetes.
Nice.
And I've seen, how this diet has, basically revitalized them and brought them back to good health.
Mm-hmm.
So those supplements are aiding in that effect,
Mm-hmm.
because being carbohydrate burners, as most Americans are,
Mm-hmm.
switching over to being a fat burner is a very difficult process. So there's
Yeah.
supplements out there that can aid in that transition.
Nice.
So that would be the only thing that I can think of
That has made
recently.
a huge impact on people.
Recently, yeah,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
absolutely. But I mean, CBD by far is. I think we're only scratching the surface with CBD.
Well, yeah,
That's
because we got CBD, CBG,
right,
CBD,
right.
CB, yeah, the
The
name of. Mhm.
cannabinoid alphabet. Um,
Mhm. Actually, you know what? Let's look at, now that you brought that up. Okay, so for those of you that are listening on the audio podcast, um, the YouTube version will have a section from a COA from Proverde. And so we're just going to kind of go through this and you can listen along. I think you'll be able to catch most everything. Otherwise, head over to YouTube and take a look at the video from there. So we're looking at a portion of a COA, a certificate of analysis. And I've always wanted to go over this on a podcast, but have never really found anyone to do it with. So really glad that you're doing this with us.
No problem.
Um, and the only piece that I was able to get today in time for the show was the cannabinoid breakdown. In addition to cannabinoid breakdowns, there are heavy metal test results.
Correct.
There are
Terpene profile.
yeah, microbials, solvents, terpenes, yeah,
Yep.
lots of different things that are tested. But tonight we're just going to take a look at a cannabinoid breakdown because there's one thing that um, comes up that's really handy when you want to find out really how many cannabinoids or yeah, what the strength of your product really is. So,
100%.
yeah. So okay, so we're looking at this and can you see it on your screen, Tony?
I can, yes, I can
How
see it.
about you just go line by line and just kind of and explain what these numbers mean?
100%. So on the left-hand column, you'll see the cannabinoids, and these are all tested with an HPLC, and it lists all
Okay,
the
what's an HPLC?
So that's the device that's used to identify the different cannabinoids.
So it's a machine?
Correct,
Okay,
correct. That's used in the lab. Any quality third-party lab will have an HPLC or a mass spec.
got it.
So basically on the left, you'll see all of the cannabinoids listed. You'll see the limit of detection. So that's the limit of detection that this particular piece of equipment can actually identify.
Hmm.
And then you have the percentage that's found. And then the next two columns are the results, the percentage that's found in the sample, as well as the milligrams per milliliter, which is important to ultimately determine how many milligrams are in your actual tincture, which I'll explain that at the end.
Perfect.
But as you can see, I mean, you can just read through this. This particular sample is our Proverde Health 1200 milligram CBD tincture, and it has CBDA, which is found at 3.9 milligrams per milliliter. It has CBG, which is found at 0.49 milligrams per milliliter. It has CBD, which is found at 36.64 milligrams per milliliter. It has THC, a small amount, which is found at 1.41 milligrams per milliliter. And it has CBC, which is found at 1.85 milligrams per milliliter. And basically, the next four columns kind of gives you those added up. So your max active THC, which comes in at 0.14%, which is below the legal limit of 0.3, and it comes in at 1.41 milligrams per milliliter. Now, this line is the line that people will most likely want to look at is your max active CBD, which in this tincture is 4.01% or 40.1 milligrams per milliliter. Now, how do I know what that means? Because the average layman will just look at that and be like, okay, that looks great. But what you need to do is understand that your tincture bottle is typically a 1 ounce or 30 ml tincture bottle. That's the standard. There are some nuances, but that's typically the standard.
Yeah.
So in this case, you would take the 40.1 and multiply it by 30 mLs, which would give you 1,203 milligrams, which is why this is a 1,200 milligram tincture. Therefore, this particular product meets label claim.
Right.
And that's what you're looking for. You're looking for your product to meet label claim.
Yeah.
Because what we find in the industry is people will sell, a 1,500 mg tincture or a 2,400 mg tincture, and when you actually test it, it only tests out for maybe 400 or 500 mgs. So people ask themselves, well, why are some 2,400 mg tinctures $200 and why are some $100? Well, there's a reason why, and typically the reason is because you're getting what you pay for.
Yeah.
So do your homework. Read test results, understand test results, and if you have questions, ask. And if
Yeah.
companies won't answer your question, that's a red flag.
It's what we tell them all the
Yeah.
time.
I mean, we get emails every day. We got people on Instagram that DM us. We got people on Facebook that message us. We're constantly answering questions. The questions that we can answer. I mean,
Legally, yeah.
we do get a lot of questions. How much should I be taking? There's a lot of questions that obviously we're not in a position to answer. But with product, with manufacturing or with reading lab tests, lab results, we're more than happy to walk you through it and help you understand what it is you're looking at.
Right. And, people can do their own research on dosing and things like that. There's a lot of information out there. Um, One of the more common um, practices is to, start low and titrate up. I
Sure.
am more of a bolus type of gal
Okay.
where, it's like just hit it
Yeah.
and, and then, go down from there.
I truly think you need to experiment with it. You need to
Yes.
experiment. You need to understand your body, how your body works,
Hmm.
and you need to experiment to see what works best for you. Because
Yeah,
what works for me might not work for you.
exactly. And that's why it's great to have these different ways of approaching it. But it's very important to note what you're doing. It's because you might not remember what you did 3 days ago, 4 days
Yeah.
ago. So keep a notebook, keep a journal, write down what you're doing, and then you can go back and say, okay, I was taking this much, now I'm taking this much, and how is it affecting me? And that's what's one of the things that I really don't like about the pharmaceutical industry is that it tends to be a one size fits all kind of thing. That you go to the store, you get your prescription filled, you just, you pop a pill, you go on. What's great with CBD and the other cannabinoids is that you're really taking responsibility for your health.
100%.
And and you're listening to your body, you're kind of getting in tune with what's happening and talk about just total responsibility and being able to affect your own health. It's a wonderful gift, and the product is just amazing to be able to do that.
And
Um,
one thing
mhm,
I want to add is a little hack that I learned as far, like you said, taking journaling or writing it down.
mhm.
I recommend keeping it on your phone because
Oh yeah.
one thing that we never leave at home or we're never without is our
Hmm.
phone.
Do you have an
So
app for that?
I don't have an app. I just keep it in my Google Notes.
Oh, there you go. Hmm.
But you always have it with you. So there's never excuse to like, oh, I forget. I don't have my notebook with me or I don't have this with me. So you always
Hmm.
have that there. So you can always kind of keep a little journal in your notes. And
Yeah,
this way you can see how you're progressing, how you feel, how it's affecting you.
yeah.
Um,
That's great. I might add a little something to the CBD Talk podcast app, just like a journal for people to be
nice.
able to keep stuff in there. So that's a good point. Um, because yeah, you're right. I never leave the house without my phone.
We always have our phone. It's
I
amazing.
actually have two phones, and I have both with me all the time.
Right.
Okay, so let's take a look now. Here's something fun that Proverde Health has on their site, and we talked before about different methods of bringing CBD into your body. We've got the tinctures and the topicals and, vapes and capsules and n- inhalers and nose drops and just all sorts of great things. So lots of methods to get it in. Um, but Tony's group has made it even more fun. And that is so if you actually go to their website, proverdehealth.com, and I'll put the website in the show notes. Um, they have a cookbook that you can download.
Yes.
So, and there's a few guidelines when it comes to cooking with CBD, and so I'm gonna get Tony to help kind of walk us through that.
Sure. So I can't take the credit for it. So with the help with a lot of creative chefs, we've sent out samples of our product, and in return, we've gotten some really cool, really unique, cold processed recipes that we've put together in a cookbook or recipe book that is available on our website for a download. I think that your entire audience will find it very fun. It's things that you can do, CBD parties. Um, you could have it as a dessert. It's just fun, unique ways to incorporate CBD in your life, where you're not necessarily just taking it sublingually or a soft gel or a salve. It's a way to kind of have a little bit more fun and ultimately incorporate it into your everyday life.
Awesome. And what is your favorite recipe?
My favorite is actually it's actually a latte, um,
Oh.
where it's similar to a bulletproof latte.
Mm-hmm.
We call it the Proverde Health latte,
Nice.
where we use it's coffee, it's cold brew coffee.
Mm-hmm.
It The MCT oil, which is already in the tincture.
Mm-hmm.
We add in. Sometimes I add ghee. Sometimes I add just like grass-fed butter,
Mm-hmm.
and everything goes into a blender. Everything
Nice.
goes into a blender. It froths up really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Tastes amazing. It's a really really good kind of pick me up. It's a great drink. We really enjoy it.
That's great. Okay, talk a little bit about literally cooking like with heat with
Mm.
CBD.
So with any type of CBD product, typically there's a boiling point or a burning point for the oil. So you'd never want to get that particular product above the boiling point. Um, so we never recommend cooking with it. Pretty much all of the recipes that we do are generally cold process recipes. You can add it to your coffee. Coffee typically is about 190, 180 degrees. That's pretty much the max that I would feel comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
So I would never recommend, cooking like any type of baking you do. Like
Mm-hmm.
we do have one recipe in there. It's for, I believe it's a pumpkin bread,
Mm-hmm.
but the CBD is actually only in the icing. Uh,
Oh, okay.
so the CBD is in the icing. So after the bread comes out and is fully baked,
Mm-hmm.
icing goes on afterwards after the bread has had a chance to cool. So yeah, please don't cook with it because that could there's a carcinogenic effect, and yeah, we don't want to go down that road.
No, we're trying to improve health, not
Yes,
okay.
that,
Yeah.
that's the goal.
Yeah. So, you guys are welcome to go to the website and download the cookbook. It's actually very well done. It's
Yeah,
attractive and
totally free. So it's definitely something fun to look at, and it's great for parties. I've had such great feedback of people making things for CBD parties just to kind of jazz it up, and it's gotten really good reviews.
yeah. Didn't Kim Kardashian or somebody just have a CBD baby shower?
Yes, Kim Kardashian did have that. It wasn't sponsored by Proverde Health, but it should have been.
That is funny. And truly, one of the things I do love, like I know that's silly with the CBD baby shower, but the normalization of cannabinoids is really important.
Sure.
Um, it's hard for those of us who use CBD daily or are involved in the industry and things like that to sometimes see or realize that there are people who still don't understand what CBD is. I mean, because
Right.
we just assume, like whatever industry you're in, you just assume that everyone knows everything you know.
Sure.
Um, but by seeing things like Kim Kardashian having a CBD baby shower, and also the maker of Jelly Bellies launching a line of
Jelly
CBD
beans.
jelly
Jelly beans.
beans, which is
Yeah.
great. It really gives us the opportunity to open a conversation with people
Right.
who are still in the dark. And
Or how
so, mhm.
how about Oreo cookies leaking information that they're going to put it in Oreos? How about that?
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
that's so exciting. I love Oreo cookies.
Yeah.
Well, that's wonderful. I didn't know that.
Sure.
So, so if you have the opportunity to where, you're talking with somebody, just, random someone, and something comes up, please let them know that your experience with CBD, let them know that no, it does not get you high. As many
Right.
times as we have to say that it doesn't get you high.
Right.
It's not intoxicating. That's THC. That's its big brother. Um, uh, and um, and then just lead them to one of your companies that you trust, like Proverde or some someone who has the time, energy, and desire to help educate other people, and help them to build a relationship with someone that that can provide them a nice quality product. We have opportunities popping up all the time now to talk about CBD, and I want everyone to do
Yeah.
it.
And there are a lot of companies out there today that are doing the right thing.
Hmm.
But you just have, as the consumer, you just have to do your due diligence.
Hmm.
So, a lot of companies are making it more and more easy to access their test results. A
Yes.
lot of companies are using QR codes on bottles, QR codes. So literally, you could be in the Whole Foods or the shopping center, and you
Hmm.
could scan these particular products. And as long as you're educated and understand how to review those lab results, you could see what you're buying. And I think that's important, to take the extra 5 minutes out of your life to understand exactly what it is you're buying and ingesting.
But I also recommend contacting the company
Oh yeah,
because
100%, hundred
I,
percent.
for me, if it's something that's important to my health. I mean, because this isn't a doctor giving it to me, so I want to hear a voice on the other side of the phone,
Sure.
and you can tell a lot about the integrity of a company um, by the people that are answering the phone. You know,
Oh,
and
couldn't agree more.
yeah, so ask some questions and see the responses you get. If it doesn't sound right, don't buy from them.
Yeah.
It's just that
Eh,
easy.
right. You got to feel comfortable. You got to feel comfortable before you make that purchase, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, and okay, so we're gonna jump. I am so not segueing today. I'm very sorry. It's been a long week at work. Um, okay, so CBD is the type of product and the type of industry, the cannabis industry as a whole, including all cannabinoids, full plant stuff. It's a type of industry where, yeah, there's a lot of money to be made, and there are a lot of companies that's what it's about. But it's also for a lot of us in the industry, it is more than a business. It's a lifestyle. Uh, it's has a lot to do with integrity and transparency and helping other people and helping yourself. And so, when they talk about these socially conscious companies and how you vote basically with your dollars. And so, I mean, there are specific companies that will never see a penny of my money for one reason or another, that, either they're they're not, they're, they're going out of their way to harm people in one way or another, or they're,
Monsanto.
yeah, uh, or they're, shooting endangered animals in other countries. And I'm
Sure.
just like, I'm sorry, you don't get my money.
Yeah.
So explain to us, because that's a big part of Proverde Health
Yes.
is that socially conscious, responsible um, foundation that your company has. So talk to us a little bit about how you do things differently there.
Sure. So we have a 200-acre certified organic farm in upstate New York, where we grow all of our organic biomass. Um, not only do we grow hemp there, we also grow other organic fruits and vegetables. And the our team that works on the farm is all paid, sustainable wages, living wages.
Mm-hmm.
And what that basically means is nobody makes minimum wage. Everybody makes at a minimum 30% above minimum wage. That's typically where we start
Mm-hmm.
somebody that's new to our team. But our goal is to, build our foundation within our company so
Mm-hmm.
that we can then provide, the highest quality product to our clients and our consumers and our family. And that starts with making sure that, our team can ultimately afford to live comfortably.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and aside from just wages and sustainable wages,
Mm-hmm.
we also have a full-time chef that cooks lunch every day for our team. Uh,
Nice.
a lot of it's our own organic fruits and
Mm-hmm.
vegetables, but we also bring in other products so that we can provide lunch every day for our team on the farm. So it's a nice add-on to have that there, and it creates more of a family atmosphere for the
Mm-hmm.
people there.
That's great. Do your do the people on the farm or the employees do they use your products?
Absolutely,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. Yeah, that's part of it. Everybody's allowed to basically everybody's allowed one tincture a month because a
Mm-hmm.
tincture is typically a 30-day supply.
Mm-hmm.
And anything more than that, we do have incentive programs to get product to people that need more.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great.
Sure.
That's great. Um, so I did want to mention that. So Tony's got tinctures and it's also got topicals. And so I'm allergic to coconut, so I couldn't take the tinctures. Um, but I did use the topical. And one of the things that's great when you work with a company that um, has a supplement background is the knowledge that goes with what to put with the CBD.
Right.
And so, like for me, I'm on a computer all day. I'm a marketing manager at a Fortune 100 company, and so I'm always on the computer. So when I wake up in the morning, my hands are cramped and stuff. But so I did use the salve, and it was wonderful. I woke up in the morning, my fingers didn't hurt. It was great. Put it on my skin. I've got some skin damage from some sun damage from being stupid, and and it really looks like it's taking away some of those uh, spots there. So that's a wonderful thing. Uh,
Amazing.
but um, what I one of the things that we talk a lot about is methods of using CBD. And so Tony and I were chatting before the episode started, and we were talking about how great it is to be able to have a tincture, a daily tincture. I actually take my tincture morning and night. I split it up and take it morning and night for that. That's how it works best for me personally. Um, but to also be able to use a topical to help bring CBD and cannabinoids into your system as well. And one of the things that people don't remember is the CB2 receptors in your skin, and that it's I mean it is really a powerful way to bring it in, um and that your skin is what is it, Tony?
Your skin is your largest organ, and most people don't realize that skin is an organ, but it is your
Hmm.
largest organ.
Yeah. And so guys, it's a great opportunity to get more CBD into your system. And if you take a bath, if you're the type of person that takes a bath, um, one of the one of our shows about a year ago, I think it um, was with a company. Um, they were working with the kids with a butterfly syndrome, which is like their skin like basically peels off, you know,
Wow.
and it's not a whole lot of like adults have it, I don't think, because it's kind of hard to get to that point.
Sure.
Um, but what they were doing is they were putting the tincture in the bath, and so it'd float on top of the water, and they'd get into the bath and soak into it, and it would coat them, and then as they got out of the bath, the oil as they were coming up would go towards them, and as it floats on top of the water, and these kids were getting great results because they were treating their skin um, with the CBD just as a process of getting in and out of the bath. And so we need to remember that it's not all about tinctures. It's great to have
Right.
tinctures, and I think it's the foundation of a good, healthy endocannabinoid system is through tinctures. But don't be afraid to use use a salve. It's not like you're going to overdose on CBD.
Correct. Correct.
This is a very safe product, but I really recommend it. And to be honest, with Proverdes, just the oh gosh, darn it, what is it?
Wintergreen.
Aromatherapy that goes
Yeah.
along with it. That's a
Sure.
yeah. The
Sure.
oh my gosh, it's just really very soothing, and and so I welcome you guys who are tincture people. Definitely stay with your tincture. You know, just keep taking tinctures, and but think about adding a salve on top of it too, here
Yeah.
and there.
Yeah,
It's
we're really happy with that formula. That's actually a formula that we created that actually works without CBD.
yeah,
So when we added the CBD to that formula, it really took it to the next level, and
yeah.
the results really intensified. So we were really happy with that, and we've gotten great feedback. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I really did because there are a lot of salves out there, and yours has 600 milligrams to 2 ounces, I think it is.
Correct.
Is that yeah? So there's a lot of salves out there that are really almost chalky because
Right.
they're their formulation just isn't there. Yours is very creamy and it's wonderful. It's easy to use. It's not like you're like digging out. It's great stuff. So I appreciate a good product.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome.
The things with that. Um, so we talked also before the episode a little bit about some of the speeches that went on with the FDA, and one of them was talking about it was with an organization in D.C. or Virginia or Maryland, in that area, um, about regulating CBD as a natural supplement, dietary supplement, because there's already a framework in place. It could go immediately into it because it's a safe product, and then the FDA could see if they needed additional things down the road. So this
Sure.
wouldn't be like a roadblock; it would just be moving straight into it. Since you've been in the supplement industry, what part of the regulation do you think is going to be the easiest part to, for CBD manufacturers to fall into? And what's going to be the hardest part?
I mean, so 21 CFR 111 is the governing body right now for the dietary supplement or nutraceutical industry.
Hmm.
So that's what they're talking about when they say that that's what they can foresee CBD moving towards,
Hmm.
which I agree. I agree wholeheartedly with that. And the the real premise there, it's a lot of it's going to be chain of custody.
Hmm.
Uh, a lot of it's going to be, having proper chain of custody and kind of all the testing that goes on. So just to give you a quick synopsis of testing that goes on in the dietary supplement side of things,
Hmm.
when we receive raw materials from our suppliers, those as soon as we receive them, they have to be quarantined, and our lab samples them. We have an in-house lab. Our in-house lab samples them and identifies them, and also microbial tests them to make sure
Hmm.
that they're safe to bring into the facility. And the identity test is done to ensure that, let's say we're bringing in organic pea protein, but
Hmm.
we want to make sure it really is organic pea protein
Yeah.
before we label it as such in our facility.
Hmm.
So those two tests have to be done to ensure that there's nothing being, because there's mistakes made in the industry,
Yeah.
and a lot of raw materials look very similar to other raw materials.
Hmm.
You have to do these preliminary tests before you even bring it into your facility.
Hmm.
And once you bring it into your facility, there's numerous tests that have to be done on finished products as well to ensure that it's safe before you can distribute it to your
Hmm.
customers or any other brand and such. Um, so I just think the total package is really
Hmm.
what the CBD industry needs. Some companies are already moved to 21 CFR 111 and already following that code of federal regulation.
Yeah.
And those that are not, they're going to be forced to,
Good.
because that's the only way to ensure that every product that's going out into the market is consistent and it meets purity and potency label claims,
Hmm.
and it's safe for consumption and safe for use.
So at what point do you do internal testing and what point do you do external third-party testing?
Sure. So all of our testing that's done in-house
Hmm.
is usually preliminary testing.
Hmm.
Final testing, we will also do our own internal testing, but we will also send it out as a safeguard, as a safety measure and a check
Hmm.
to a third party and cross-reference our results.
Yeah. That's and I have heard that there's some inconsistency in third-party testing.
There definitely is. There
Yeah.
definitely is. And I've seen it range as much as 10 to 15%.
Hmm.
Um, I've actually seen, like, you could literally take the same sample,
Hmm.
split it in half, send it to the same lab as two different samples,
Hmm.
and get two different results.
It's
So, but
we got to change that.
I don't want to scare anybody by
Right.
saying,
No, but no.
because
Yeah.
because when I say there's two different results, I mean I'm talking within 5 to 10%.
Right.
I'm not talking, 50, 60, 70, 80%. I'm talking there's nuances to the
Hmm.
results. And a lot of that has to do with, what machine was it run on in that
Hmm.
lab? What was the lab tech? Was it the same lab tech? Was it a different lab tech?
Hmm.
So there are some nuances, even though it's the same sample going to the same lab, that could make up for these differences.
Right. And the thing is again, we're not talking about um fentanyl here. We're
Right.
talking about CBD.
Right,
So
right.
you don't have to
Very,
really
very,
worry
very
about.
very low toxicity.
Yeah.
And in my findings and research, nobody has ever OD'd on CBD
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah.
So,
Ever. So there is room for improvement in the testing machinery and all of that. I mean,
and it
I
has gotten better. It
yeah,
has gotten better. I mean,
I've definitely heard that. I
so
yeah.
we've gone from, I would say, a 15 to 20% margin of error. I
Mhm.
would say we're down to about I'd like to say 5, but more
Mhm.
realistically, it's about 10%.
Mhm. Yeah,
So
and they'll
so one
keep working on it.
Well, one of the things we do at Proverde Health to combat that, until the labs can catch up, is
Mhm.
we formulate with a 10% overage.
Yeah.
So all of our products always have a 10% overage
Mhm.
to ensure that we always meet label claim.
Yeah. Well, because also like if your product is sitting on a shelf for 3 months,
Sure,
I mean,
there will be some degradation.
mhm, yeah.
Yes.
And so that's why it is, it's great that you over deliver.
Sure. Yep.
So, although a lot of products in the CBD world don't stay on the market on shelves that long, but we can also see, moving ahead, um, the possibility of like with huge batches being made when,
Sure.
when it's on every shelf in, every drugstore across the country as it should be. Um, that uh, that's one thing that I would look at when buying is the manufacture date. So if it's
True.
more than 6 months,
And with these huge batches,
hmm,
manufacturers should be testing more than just one bottle.
yeah,
Okay, so the standard that's been developed is the square root of m plus one, and what that basically means, m being the number of units produced in
hmm,
that batch.
hmm,
So let's say, for instance, there was 1,000 bottles produced in that batch.
hmm,
Take the square root of 1,000, and you
hmm.
add one, and that's the number of bottles in that particular batch that should be randomly sampled to ensure
Nice.
that that entire batch meets label claim.
And is that kind of a supplement rule of thumb?
It's 21 CFR 111. Yes.
Oh, okay, awesome.
So to segue,
Hmm.
companies that are following 21 CFR 111 are doing that, but
Hmm.
that's not the standard yet.
Right.
That's what we're hopefully the industry is hopefully moving towards.
Yes. Yes, definitely. And that could solve a lot of problems. Because I work in animal health, and so I know with the different pharmaceuticals that we work with, that there have been recalls,
Sure,
and entire manufacturing suites shut down
sure.
because of things found, and it's not that there was ill intent,
Hmm.
but how are you going to catch it if you don't test? You
Well,
know.
another key thing with GMPs
Hmm.
is any facility that's following GMPs will do mock recalls.
Oh.
So we will do mock recalls at least twice a year on a product
Hmm.
to ensure that we can safely identify, but with our lot coding system,
Hmm.
all the units that were in that batch and
Hmm.
safely recall them. God forbid anything did happen.
Yeah, that's
So
great. So are you using um lot batch or manufacture date or expiration date, or what are you using on your bottles?
we use a lot number and a expiration date.
Awesome. What expiration, how far out do you go on your expiration date?
We currently have stability studies showing stability at 1 year.
That's great, but that's also because you over deliver.
We over deliver
Hmm.
with our formulation. And the one thing that we did find is that by using the organic MCT oil,
Hmm.
it allowed us to have a much more stable product.
Yeah.
When we used hemp oil,
Hmm.
which I know a lot of people do like because of the omega effect,
Hmm.
and some people prefer the taste,
Uh-huh.
it was a much shorter shelf life.
Right. And as long as the expiration date reflects that, then
Correct. Yeah, you're good. You're good.
yeah.
But just note that if you are using a CBD oil with hemp that's using
Hmm.
hemp oil as a carrier,
Hmm.
just be cognizant of the expiration date.
Yeah, because since I'm allergic to coconut, that's what I have to use. And
Yep.
that's why I look at expiration dates a little
Sure.
bit.
No, it's a good
So,
thing to do for sure.
yeah, and it's really great that you're doing the testing for shelf life. A lot of companies I don't see do that.
Yeah, I mean, again, 21 CFR
Hmm.
111, you have to have stability data if you're going to put an expiration date on a product. You
Yeah.
have to have the whole premise with GMP is you really have to have paperwork to back up anything you're saying.
Hmm.
If I'm making a label claim, I have to have verified paperwork, verified test results, and documentation showing how I'm making that label claim.
Yeah, that's fabulous. All right. So do you have any final words for our listeners tonight? Any words of wisdom for CBD?
So I believe that there's a lot of good companies out there, and I'm hoping that these companies are not only raising the bar, but they're raising the floor. And by
Mm.
raising the floor, everybody's getting raised up. And hopefully, with these new regulations and everybody following, 21 CFR 111, it'll allow the best possible products to be on the market. Therefore, the customers and the people that are needed these products will be getting the best quality. So that's really what the hope is for the industry. And there's a lot of companies that are fighting for this. And I think that's really the best case for everybody.
Yeah, I think so too, because then there's no schedule to deal with,
Right.
you know,
100%.
which is a little absurd. That's great, and so we hope to have someone in um from the from that organization soon, one of the like regulatory organizations, to talk to us about the parallels between the nutraceuticals and um, the cannabis industry. So that'll be a good one to have. But
For sure.
um, guys, like we say, do your homework. Just
Yes.
do your homework. Do not ever be afraid to call a manufacturer. If they are a good company, then they're they want to hear from you. They want to know
Right.
how their product has helped you. And if it hasn't helped you, they might be able to recommend like uh, either point you to a website that will give you information on dosing or explain how to research that, because let's remember we don't want our companies to get messed up with the FDA. So we can't
There's a
make
lot.
claims.
There's a lot of good resources out there that we
Yeah.
could definitely help you point you in the right direction. And
Mm-hmm.
the other piece is, we want customers' feedback
Mm-hmm.
because that's how we learn. I
Yeah.
mean, I love hearing from our customers, whether it's good or bad, because
Mm-hmm.
everything is not great.
Yeah.
So the negative feedback is how we grow, how we learn, how we get better, and how we provide better products and better services. So I think good quality companies want that feedback. So don't be
Mm-hmm.
afraid to give it.
Yeah, definitely. And that way you can partner up with somebody. Um, Once you get some good results from something and you start sharing it, you're going to want to know more and more about the company and find out what other products are they going to be coming up with that that might work well for you
Sure.
as well. So,
Sure.
okay, everybody, thank you for joining us tonight. Tony, thanks so much. I appreciate you coming and
No problem.
explaining all this nutraceutical,
It's been fun.
GMP, all those letters that you just said.
It's been a lot of fun, Dawn. Thanks for having me.
Things. And okay, everyone, remember, stay happy, stay healthy, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Seven,
Bye.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.